Hey guys, welcome to Mobile Frame Zero Firebrands with the cast of Guard Prevails minus half the cast of Guard Prevails. Tonight's episode will be PG-13. We're going to try to keep a minimum on the cursing, but it is a game about giant mechas with swords fighting each other and the pilots who pilot them. I'm Arthur Perkins. This is my second time running this, I think. Yeah, it was pretty interesting last time.
This will be my third time playing. I'm very excited to do
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I've never played.
Interesting. So yeah, we've got one of everything here. Let's go ahead and quickly introduce ourselves, and then we're going to jump into the game. If you want to follow along, I'll be including a link to the rules in the chat, and of course, if you are at home, you can just check the YouTube description. I'm Arthur Perkins. This is APGamingREAL. I run a lot of stuff. There is some other runnings of this mech anime. I've run about 30 different systems now. That's what I got. I run a lot of shows of a lot of different stuff. That's what I do.
Thank you.
Kelsa, who are you?
Hello, I'm Kelsa. I play role-playing games online with people like AP, for example. That is a people that I play with.
True. I am people.
About 4 or 5 nights a week, you can find my beautiful face on other people's channels, playing role-playing games of various types, mostly Blades in the Dark right now because I love that game. I also love this game, so I'm really looking forward to playing. And follow me on Twitter at Kelsa. That's enough for now, I think.
Sam, Wizenedfool.
I am Sam, aka Wizenedfool, sometimes Wisefool on the Discord at least. And I play on this game and on Eric Valgaris' show Burning Crowns, also with AP on Sundays. And don't get to play enough other games other times, but that's okay. It's good to be here, and I'm very excited.
All right. Because it's topical and it's happening, I want to introduce 3 things, and we can decide whether we want to talk about them real quick before we start the show. Civ 6, Doctor Strange, Titanfall 2. Anyone interested in any of that?
Civ 6. I haven't seen Doctor Strange yet. I haven't had time.
It's good. It's good.
I have plans. I hopefully before the next time we have a game together, I will have seen it.
It reminds me a lot of Winter's Edge. And like the spiritual demiplane that your characters just got off of.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff going on.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it, but I haven't had a chance to see it yet, seeing as it just came out and
yeah,
I needed to sleep.
Yeah.
Didn't it
Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
Kelsa, I know you've heard me talk about this a million times, or at least 6. I have yet to win a science victory for Civ 6. Every single time I try to win a science victory, I win some other type of victory by accident. I won a religion victory by accident simply because the spiritual pressure of my towns was causing people in other continents to vote for me.
Wow.
I literally I didn't have any missionaries. I wasn't sending them anywhere. I was purely defensive. And I just had so much faith and pressure from my towns that everyone converted. And I was like, what? I got the ending. I got this. But I only just launched the moon landing mission 2 turns ago. I can't get the science victory. And then it's like, you've brought humanity together. I'm like, no, religious victory again. Culture victory keeps happening just because I just have a lot of culture. Like, Oh, and
I have not tried for the science victory yet. I'm going for my culture victory. I should probably just skip trying that and just go for the science victory. I should have done that last run because I was really good, but I was already pressing for my my spiritual victory with religion. And so I was like, I am like in the modern era while everybody else is back in the Renaissance, but it's fine.
Oh yeah, no, I've had where I'm information era where everybody else is in medieval, and they've got like Marmalukes and knights, And I'm like, listen, bro, I know you want to declare war on me because I only have one modern AT trooper, but he can literally defeat your entire army. I've literally got one tank that can take all of your cities, possibly on the same turn.
But see, I have never really played a lot of Civ, but I love hearing about Civ. I feel like much more than I could ever enjoy playing Civ.
You're really going to like this then. I have open games on Wednesdays where I invite the community to come fight in a free-for-all. And in the first one ever, this Wednesday, I ended up being like the fucking magical white guy that lives in a magical land where nothing bad ever happens, and I have all the resources, and everyone around me is blocking the barbarians from getting to me, and I'm just like, look at how prosperous I am. This is amazing. I have roads between my towns, and Lucan's like, I have one city. And I'm like, oh, I'm working on my 6th. He's just like, my military is dying. I'm holding out the barbarians, and I'm like, wow, that sounds like a problem. I'm busy just setting up another trade route. And then I betrayed Lucan at the last, like, as soon as our friendship pack wore out. We were allies for thousands of years, and then I conquered his city in like 3 turns, and he was very sad, and I won the game.
All right, I'm gonna find some time to have a Wednesday so that I can crush your soul.
I mean, you can
Civ.
try. You can
Yeah.
try, but I live in a magical land where barbarians don't show up.
You know, that's usually my land. So
A valley
we
full
should
of
have
rivers? I mean, it was perfect. It was literally perfect. There was a desert by a coast, and I got Petra. Okay, we need to start Firebrands. So, if you're at home, this is a Mario Party game. It's a game about mini games. So let's make our characters. Kelsa, I know that you always have a character in mind, so why don't you just go ahead and hit us with that character?
All right. So should I go ahead and read the faction description for
Yes.
those
Yep.
watching for the first time?
Yep.
I am going to be a revolutionary. The undeclared war between the landowners and the Bantresh is an opportunity for the people of Bantrel to rise up. You are a revolutionary captain, a mobile frame ace pilot fighting for freedom from both the hereditary tyranny and off-world rule. It's your opportunity. It's your opinion that the wealth of Bantrel should belong to its people. While both the Bantresh and the landowners are your enemies in principle, some of their more sympathetic individuals, families, and squads are your rivals and friends in practice. And while in principle the revolutionaries are entirely your friends, in practice it contains rivals and enemies as well. Choose 3 attractive qualities. I need a way to write this down.
You should have a notes in the handout section.
Thank you. I do.
I will make another note for Sam as well.
So my 3 attractive qualities are going to be charming, down to earth, and no, don't put Sam's note in front of me. Sorry.
Sound like I'm talking to a cat.
Kind.
Charming, down to earth, and kind.
Yeah. And her name is Gigi.
Gigi.
Mm-hmm.
Is that literally like GG or GIGI?
It's GIGI.
All right. I didn't know whether we were going like full on Overwatch.
No, not yet.
What do you do? What profession or occupation occupies your daily life?
Yes. Let me write that down here. So she is actually a mobile frame repair technician. She's a mechanic that actually works for one of the Bantresh families. No, I think it's more interesting if she works for one of the landowners.
Are you like a contractor then? They like showed up and they're like, we need some locals to fix our
like
mechs.
they can't repair, they couldn't bring their own repair facility. So they like hired locals into their to work, like to do the grunt work, to do the pressure, whatever. But over the years, Gigi's worked her way up to be like a supervisor on the ground.
I don't know if you know this, but on this show, AP Gaming Real, all mechanics have to have at least one scene where they're dancing to Everybody Working for the Weekend while repairing something. Reference Shadowrun if you missed out on that. It's happened in literally every episode so far. They keep breaking things. They just keep breaking things.
Right.
So you fly a mech as well, though, right?
Sure do.
Okay.
As a secret revolutionary.
Mobile frames are walking combat and labor mecha that humanity brought with them to colonize the galaxy. Your mobile frame is a repurposed labor module, probably a high leg or a commissar, much repaired, armed and armored with mismatched and makeshift systems. There's no insignia except maybe the symbol of the uprising, justice, or liberty. Your soldiers are your fellow revolutionaries, working people committed to fight for their own rights and self-determination. Think of them as your friends and colleagues pushed into a desperate corner. And so my mobile frame actually is made up of a hodgepodge of parts that I've stolen. I've put together with the knowledge that I have. Now I've reached either me personally or other peoples of the revolutionary have stolen them. But what she does is when she repairs a mech, if there's she will flag repairable units that are on the brink as what's the term, totaled, and then have them disposed of and then shipped to the revolutionary base instead of
before I saw you as a revolutionary, but now I'm thinking maybe you might just be part of the like Bantresh mafia where you work in like waste disposal and you're just, why don't we just make this mobile frame disappear,
in the Bantresh mafia.
Bantresh mafia.
Yeah, that might be a thing. Why not?
Don Cristolone.
She has friends in the mob.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What is your mobile frame look like? I don't think we talked about that yet.
Not entirely. So it's it looks like a farming mech at first blush. So it's kind of disguised. But when you actually get close to it, you realize that those are not harvester arm extensions, but actually hard light swords that can be
hard light swords. All right.
Yeah. That can be deployed. It also has suborbital capabilities, which is not standard model for a farming droid.
I mean, yeah, no, farming droids tend to stay on the ground for the most part.
Yeah, usually. So,
Oh man, with a hard light sword, I really just want to have one character be like, I've got a light shield too.
Yeah.
I really love Outlaw Star. So good.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, I know you were looking into making a character. Do you have one yet?
Yeah, so I've been kind of thinking about it. So I wanted to ask, since it's just two of us playing.
Oh no, I'm playing too. I'm
three?
facilitating, but we are all playing. There's no GM here.
It's a GM-less game.
There's no dice either. We just flip a coin.
It's weird.
Even with the three of us, do we think it would be more interesting to have characters that have a history, or do we think it's more interesting to have characters that don't really know each other very much?
Either works.
We're gonna have a history. As soon as we get started, we're gonna have a history. It's gonna happen.
Okay. All right. I'm just.
I mean, you can become secret lovers on a Moonlight Palace balcony, but never actually kiss, and then you die, and no one ever makes a statue of you because you die in a nuclear explosion.
Yeah, that's true.
Made by a laser, a nuclear laser.
I think I want to be the mercenary.
You're going to be a landowner?
Yeah, so faction is the landowners. The landowners are, according to Solar Union law, the right shareholders to the wealth of Bantrell. You are a mobile frame ace pilot employed to defend and secure their rights. The landowners, their soldiers, and their officers are all your friends. Officially, the Bantrish are your rivals, but when the fight breaks out, they're your enemies. The revolutionaries are your enemies. Choose 3 attractive qualities, and I will be confident, conflicted, and fashionable.
Fashionable's a good one. Fashionable's just a good one to have in the first place.
Yeah, I like fashionable. That's a good one. Especially because I definitely am not in real life. Choose a name that will be easy to remember. You can use your own real name if you like, and I will not do that. I'm going to come back to the name, but I'm going to have one by the end of talking about this. Choose a company name, unit designation, or squad call sign. Oh, actually, I know exactly what name I'm choosing. My name will be Wedge.
Oh, okay, Wedge. I'm curious if that's a Star Wars reference, or if that's a Final Fantasy reference.
It's Star Wars.
All right.
And I think Wedge is sort of a. Oh, sorry. Hold on. There's one more thing. Oh yeah. So company name and unit design or squad call sign. So the company name will be. I don't have anything for this. If you guys want to pitch in, hold on. Let me generate.
Marauders. I'm sorry. What's your name again?
To be, who?
What's your name again? Because as you know, military units have to be like Masons, Marauders, Rico's Roughnecks.
But like the company name could be the company that you are representing as a landowner, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Do you want it to be the same company that Gigi works for?
Yeah, sure. What is that?
I hadn't made it up yet. But I can now.
How about AxiNet Unlimited? Oh wait, no, it's got to be something like It's got to be something like mechanical, right?
Well, no, not necessarily, because the company that you would be working for, basically, they 200 years ago funded the colonization of this planet. Okay. And the company has changed hands however many times in the last 200 years. And now suddenly that worth 1% of a planet stock ticket is actually worth the paper it's printed on.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay. So I like AxiNet Unlimited. That's good. All right. It's also just like a number. Like they have like squad number. So that's probably the squad sign. So let's call it Bravo 578 is my call sign. Is the squad call sign.
Thrain 478.
Okay, let's change it. I didn't even realize that. Let's do 576 instead. Call sign. Company name is AxiNet Security Force.
Wedge's Widowmakers. I like that.
Ooh, that's
a good one.
That's
it's thematic. It fits. I mean, you know what they say: if the glove fits, you must acquit.
Yes, that is what they say. Yeah, so they're officially AxiNet Security Force. Call sign Bravo 576, but they are known as Wedge's Widowmakers. And I have a mobile frame. They are walking combat and labor mecha. That's the same thing that was in Kelsa's, but mine says your mobile frame is a high-end military model, probably an Osprey, armed and armored to your exact specifications, bearing the insignia of your company and rank. So I think Wedge drives like a really old school mech. Because he's kind of like he's a grizzled veteran. He's probably not like actually that old, but probably like for a mercenary, like to be, not in your like early 20s is probably like fairly rare, because I got to imagine, these guys are, the front lines and fighting all the time. And if you take a hit, if you have a puncture a hole in your mech, that's pretty much it. If you're in high orbit, or
getting shot means you're dead.
Exactly. So I think he's probably like late 20s, maybe early 30s, but he probably doesn't really like to. He probably would tell you different number every time. And his mech, I think, is like probably a little bit larger and bulkier than like today's era mechs. They're like a little slimmer and sleeker. But he's still a great pilot, and I think his weapons of choice, he has like this big energy mace thing. That's essentially, it's just like, it's probably predates some of like the more modern like cutting tech or whatever. It's just like a big like heavy object that emits force when you hit things with it. And he probably also has like, a standard issue mech tactical assault rifle or something like that. some name. And then so I have soldiers who are like me, professional war fighters employed by the landowners. Think of them as a military unit under your command. So that's Wedge's Widowmakers. I think it's like kind of like a matter of pride for them that my mech stands out so much. Because, when we go into combat, it's like kind of obvious who I am, just because I'm the only one who drives around that like old, like second model Osprey when everybody else is on Model 4. And obviously, AxiNet can supply their soldiers, so like, why the hell does this guy do that?
They just don't make them like they used to.
Exactly.
Every time I hear someone say matter of pride, I just want to fucking sing "Be Prepared." It just drags at me so much. Jeremy Irons, man. So I guess
I think the insignia is just the mace, by the way.
Oh, your like energy mace is your unit insignia?
It's like the insignia.
I am a member of the Bantresh nobility. The Bantresh are the aristocratic families of Bantrol. You are a hereditary warrior prince of a noble family, a mobile frame ace pilot, and the off-world landowners have robbed you of your wealth and estates. You've been raised to believe that the wealth of Bantrol belongs to the Bantresh. Bantresh of the same family are your friends. Bantresh of different families are your rivals. Landowners and revolutionaries are your enemies. Choose 3 attractive qualities. I'm fiery, passionate, and rich. My name...
Fantastic.
My family
names... Swan.
my family names itself after great battles fought in the past and the places that they were fought at. So my name is Thermopylae, Carthage, Istanbul, NASCAR the 4th. My call sign is Thermo. My family name is the House of NASCAR. One of the great battles of old Earth was fought in the classic arena of NASCAR, where men piloted the precursors to mobile frames in death-defying battles of high-speed chases.
This is the absolute worst. I love you, AP.
And the turned left.
My mech is completely unlike other mobile frames. My family's completely customized a new line. It's not as effective as some other lines, like it's not fully military, but it has its own special tricks. It looks a lot like a Mad Cat from MechWarrior, or a Timberwolf, because they have the same name even though they're the different mechs. It's a reverse Chicken Welker leg mech, with a huge turret-style cockpit that just rotates around. It's got giant boxy missile launchers on the shoulders, and then it's got underslung gun arms. That one is holding like a chainsaw blade, and the other is holding like a laser rifle. And then around the cockpit, there's like smaller, like lasers used for picking off infantry all around the cockpit for precision work. When I need to take out the peasants when they're revolting.
Of course,
And
obviously.
the peasants are usually pretty revolting. They don't get nearly enough baths.
Ouch. Ouch.
Thermo
My
doesn't.
grief-stained heart.
Thermo doesn't think like that. But that is how his family designed the mech.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's primarily meant to work on Bantresh, so it doesn't have any orbital capabilities. It can't fly around. It can only walk, and because it's a reverse liker, it's very stable and balanced, so it can go over very difficult terrain, but it can't jump over it. And our house insignia, which is a blue field, so that's a shield-shaped object with blue in the background, with golden waves, 3 golden waves down the front end, is painted on the back of my mech, on both of its gun arms, and on the sides of both of the missile launchers, and represents the tracks of NASCAR. My soldiers are my siblings, cousins, and household guards. They are my knights, retainers, and loyal warriors. So, we play solitaire real quick. So we'll pick one or more of the questions under our solitaire thing so that we all have an idea of where we are when we start the game. I'm guessing, Kelsa, you maybe have finished your solitaire already?
Oh no, I was totally invested in what you guys were doing. I hadn't
okay.
even looked at my solitaire, to be honest.
Well, I finished my solitaire. I'm just going to take one of the questions to start with. And that'll be something that I can tell you about me and what you've heard about me.
How does this work?
All right, so scroll. I mean, on our main screen, you don't have to use the PDF quite yet. You will in a moment. But on the main screen, there are 3 games of solitaire, one for each faction. Do you see that?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes,
I got it.
so you need to answer one or more of those questions. And later, at the beginning of a minigame, they'll say, what have you heard? What have I heard about you? Or what's going on with you? And the answer to that question or questions are the things that we've heard about you. And anytime you get bored and aren't interested in what's going on or just want something to talk about, you can be like, I'm going to go back to the solitaire table and pick something else.
Gotcha.
All right, so I've got one picked out, but it's actually basically just what I said in my introductions. So I'm going to pick another one.
Okay.
I've got one. So I just put that on the notes again?
Yeah. Leave it in your notes, and we'll come back to it. Does anyone have a game they want to start with?
Let's play a game.
Yeah, let's play a game.
Ooh, all right, I got one. So
Of course.
I like the idea of starting with a ball.
Of course.
No, because I think it's a really good way to get all of us involved.
I know.
And introduce the characters, and then maybe, well, we'll get past that anyway. So I think we should start with a ball.
Who is your partner?
I'm going to choose Sam as my partner. That way, sorry, I apologize. You didn't actually change the name in your thing. It's Wedge.
I always do that. That's my bad.
Yes, I will choose Wedge as my partner. That way, because I know AP will be more than happy to just let Thermo in there. So, turn to page.
I mean, it can be at my house. But the answer to where all this is happening and how it came to be is on Sam.
Yep.
It's on page 18 of your PDF. You are the chosen partner. You decide how the two of you came to be dancing together.
Correct. Okay.
So where are you dancing? Why are you dancing? How did this all happen?
So I feel like it's like not like so much of a traditional ball because I don't feel like Gigi would it's like something that I mean, you tell me, Kelsa, is that really something she would attend? Like a more like
She might, depending on the situation. It's very possible, but it's very true. Every single time we've done this in the past, it's been at a traditional ball, but really, we are dancing together at a point. So if you
right.
want to, we could be at like a bar, and
A
there's a
Nova Hot nightclub.
That's what I'm thinking. I like
Yeah.
have like some sort of like concert or like
Oh, cool. A
like
concert. That's cool.
like something like kind of like grungier though is kind of what I'm imagining.
Because a lot of these moves assume you're doing like a ballroom dance, but if instead you're like in a mosh pit, that could also apply to some of these.
Yeah, that's like that's kind of what I was thinking is something like very like moshy like, but it's probably like electronic, like it's like electronic metal essentially. Is
It's
kind
just
of
it's Darude Sandstorm now. That's all I. It's fucking canon for me.
That's fine.
It's too late.
I've
You've
danced
done
to that.
it.
It's great.
um yeah
Okay, so we came to be dancing together at a concert of classical music like Darude Sandstorm. So other players can join freely if they make sense for their characters to be present at the dance. Would Lord NASCAR be at this kind of an event?
It's actually Prince NASCAR, and
I apologize.
yes, as a wealthy millennial of the 32nd millennia.
Right.
Sorry, of the third 3000. When does this game take place? I think there's a date, but anyway,
is there?
He's like a generational millennial
I think it's
type.
like 20x. I think it's like 2x something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
As a rich, prince, he goes to Nova Hot nightclubs and dances with people because it's expected of him. Like Bruce Wayne.
Gotcha.
And then at night, he goes and destroys rebel bases,
Right. Cool. So the next question is, what do you notice about each other? What have you heard? So this is where we can put in that information that we got from our solitaire game.
Yeah. So do I describe what I notice about you?
Yes, the two of you describe what you might have heard about each other.
Yeah, so you would notice, so you can say something that you think you'd notice about me, and I can confirm if that's true, but I think it's more meant to be like you would say something that I might have heard about you or notice a detail about you. So like I will say, you're going to notice the grease under my fingernails, even though I'm dressed nicely for the nice nightclub. But you're also, I'm going to say, and this is, I don't have to tell you this is coming from the solitaire game, but it is. You also notice that I'm looking over my shoulder constantly. Not constantly, but more than once looking over my shoulder.
Yeah. I think the thing you notice about Wedge is there's probably like some like performer tonight. And he has like a old a couple years back like vintage version of one of their band like tour shirts, right? So it's, like he's like very very
now
he caught them in 2077 over Demeter. Exactly. It was rocking.
Exactly.
Now you're from Off-World as a representative of the landowners. Is this a shirt from their galactic tour, like from 2 planets over or something?
I think like Wedge's whole family has been kind of like spacer types for like a long time, and maybe like he's probably like the first to like actually be a mercenary. In fact, I'm thinking the others probably would have leaned a little bit more towards like the revolution side, just kind of like working class folks. But he was kind of just like, well, that's where the money is. I'm good at flying around killing stuff, so but I think he has like no problem like traveling around, and he has like done a lot of traveling. So yeah, I think that would be it. And you've heard a story about a mercenary captain who let somebody that a revolutionary, probably just like a soldier. He let her go when she when he had her captured and at his mercy.
All right. What about you, AP? What have we heard about Prince NASCAR?
Oh, okay. So before Prince NASCAR shows up in the club, there's probably a news report about a recent outing that Prince NASCAR's family sponsored for the landowner troops, where they took them out in the countryside, and there's they're playing volleyball. There's these beautiful land shots. I don't know. Were you there, Wedge? Were you part of the group that I took out into the beautiful countrysides that my family controls?
Yeah, I think so.
We probably see both of us on the camera, like high-fiving each other at a volleyball game, and everyone's like, "Look, peace on Bantrash, everybody. There's no war."
Yeah, it was probably something like, and you probably, I can't imagine you would have liked Wedge very much.
We'll see.
But,
before you say that.
Okay, that's fair.
All right. So to conduct the dance, we each take turns asking each other questions. Each of you gets to ask the other 2 questions, taking turns. If other players have joined the dance, you each get to ask 2 questions total, choosing which dancing partner for each question. Take turns around the circle as the figures of the dance bring you to and from each partner. So the worst dancer asks the first question. Who is the worst dancer?
Yo, I gotcha.
I'm a superb dancer.
Okay.
So I am, as Prince NASCAR, Thermopylae, Carthage, Istanbul, NASCAR the 4th. Yes. I'm doing the Macarena, and then settling into the specialty of NASCAR. My family has a special dance called the chicken dance that we perform. As you might know, we have the chicken walker mech. And so, we do it, and maybe some of the people in the club are like, the chicken dance.
Right.
And as that happens, Wedge, the dance comes to a close. Where is this? Will you stand with me at the end and talk, or are you going to rush away?
I will stand and talk.
So I'm like, Sir Wedge, so good to see you again.
Yes.
I hope you enjoyed our trip to the countryside. Bantresh has a lot to offer the galaxy.
I mean, when you see one flower, you kind of seen them all, right?
And yet, so many desire the flowers of Bantresh.
Well, as long as they keep paying me to do what I do here, it's nice enough, I suppose.
And maybe we're standing side by side, right? Looking at something.
I'm imagining this conversation happening for the sandstorm where it's like yeah, it's all right.
So Prince Istanbul NASCAR looks like a really young Michael Fassbender, 20-something Fassbender, and he just turns away from you so that the shadows fall in his face and says, "What if someone else was paying you? The landowners aren't the only ones with money. You're mercenaries. This is a beautiful world, and if it was under the control of the nobles who live here and look after its people, imagine what kind of wealth you might get." Just a thought exercise, of course.
Yes. Thought exercise.
Well, you enjoy that drink there, and you know what? Why don't you enjoy all the rest of your drinks tonight? It's on me.
He nods and says, "Your loss. I'm quite a drinker." And then immediately turns and just orders whatever the most expensive bottle he can see on the shelf is.
Oh, Bantresh very much makes specialty whiskeys and anything else you might find in the South.
Yeah, so he probably just like points at like the most expensive small batch bourbon he sees.
I like salute you with my glass and walk off. And now it's time for someone else to pick a question to ask.
I think either way, whether we're going around Zoom or if we're going by the overlay, I think it's going to be me next. So I would like my question to be of, so I think this is going to be for Thermopylae. The song is starting to get really pumping, and there's like a bunch of movement, and all of a sudden a woman like falls out of a crush of people and stumbles. I've lost my place in the dance. Do you let me stumble or you draw me back into place?
He is a gentleman, of course. He like takes your hand and helps you up and then gets you back into the traditional line dancing formation for the Darude Sandstorm.
Yeah,
You know,
of course.
you got to do a lot of cowboy kicks and jazz hands along the way. Yeah, and Prince NASCAR is like, well, ma'am, you seem to have lost your way. Please allow me to assist you.
Thank you.
What is this fine odor I smell from you? Is that WD-40 brand mechanized grease for a mobile frame?
Yeah, you're got a good nose on you there.
I only use the finest level of quality for my mobile frame. Are you also a mobile frame pilot by chance?
I'm just a mechanic. I'm here for the show.
Which family are you attached to?
This is somewhat embarrassing, but
You're with the landowners then.
It's just money.
So he like bangs his hands together, and when he pulls them back, he's got a business card. But it's a calling card. It's like a noble calling card with like his name on one side and like a phone number on the other. But because it's the future, it's actually a cell phone pre-programmed to only call that particular number.
That's so.
It's like handing somebody a smart.
Yes.
So he just like hands it over and it's like, if you ever feel like getting a raise or perhaps working by Bantresh for Bantresh, please give me a call. I'm Prince NASCAR, by the way. You might have heard of me. I've been fighting for the people of Bantresh for years.
I don't know what to say. Thank you. And the card disappears.
Perfect. I'm not playing Space Swan. It's so much worse.
Count Space Swan.
Is it Space Jazz?
Yeah. Wow. Why do people think I'm just playing the same character over and over again?
I know you're not. I'm just. I'm sorry. Please.
I'm more than one dimension, people.
No, I believe you. I'm excited to see where this goes.
It's just that I'm just gonna buy everyone thing.
Well, one of my qualities is rich, so you know.
So I'm gonna choose one of these. Okay, my question is for Gigi. And it is something about me catches your eye and your look lingers. What is it?
Okay. So I think that we're like dancing from a ways away, and I just got done with getting Prince NASCAR's card, and as I go away, I turn around to steal one more like look at him, and just standing right next to him, and all of a sudden my mind flashes to that newspaper that we saw earlier of the two of you high-fiving at the volleyball court, and suddenly like it just like that association clicks in my mind, and I'm like, those are some very important people.
Excellent. I think it's just like in both the picture, like in the picture, it's just like this fake like cheesy smile, and he just looks like bored dancing. Just like he very much espouses the like I'm way too cool to be here, but like at the same time I'm wearing like the Vans t-shirt.
Right. No, totally. Like, I think like it just so happens that like you both throw your hands up in the air with the music at the same time that it matches the pose.
Exactly.
Only from my angle. You're not actually high-fiving, it's just the angle that I'm at. I think that's what
Of course. Yeah, I often wave my hands in the air like I just don't care.
It's true.
Oh my god. And is that just how it ends then?
Yeah, well now we each get asked one more question.
Oh, okay, excellent.
Yeah. I want to address a question back to Wedge. Something about me catches your eye and your look lingers. What is it? So probably what happens is while you're like pretending not to like this place and you're riding it up with the band, I do the whip and nay nay and cut in front of you for a moment. What is it about me that catches your eye?
Oh, I know what it is. So I think like you have like you did like the trick with the card, right? So you probably have like some sort of like dispenser or like I'm imagining like
up my left sleeve, yeah.
Yeah, but like it's also probably got like your like cards, like your like credit cards, and I think he spies like you're like it's the black Amex, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like unlimited, you know, like super badass card.
I have several of them just in case.
Yeah, it's just like he just like catches it and he just, you know, Wedge, of all of his great traits and amazing abilities, his eye for money is among the greatest.
You know who's got a lot of money? Prince NASCAR.
Yeah, so that's
and he sees you catching a look at that, and he's like, "Yeah, we can set you up with one of those if you sign on with the band Tresh today, buddy."
I think I can't do it, but he just raises the one eyebrow and just like he's just holding the bottle and just like,
that's the stuff right there, friend. I like slap you on the back, and then I go get a mojito. And I'm like, make sure to put a little salt in there. That's how I like them things. Extra sugar, extra salt. That's what my mama always said. And that ends my question. I know that you like that money, and I know where you can get it.
I think my question is going to once again be for our friend Wedge. Wedge, at this moment in the dance, you laugh at what? We're near each other. We're dancing kind of close by. And suddenly you laugh. What are you laughing at?
I think he is like still thinking about, he's like sort of thinking about what Prince NASCAR is like saying, and he's now been like kind of drinking too much, maybe even. And he probably like he normally prides himself on being an excellent dancer. And you know, he's traveled he's studied many different types of dancing. You know, he's traveled all over, and he's never really found one that he's bad at. But he just like stumbles over himself and bumps into you. And then in the way of like kind of like a kind of maybe too drunk person, he like tries to like laugh it off. And like kind of like laughs at himself and maybe does like kind of like an awkward like clumsy drunk bow to you.
Yeah, and I think that so she smiles and she like goes to like tip a hat, but she's not wearing a hat. And then she laughs at like herself for that. So there's like a little moment where they kind of both laugh at themselves.
Yeah, I think he like maybe like offers her a drink and then and sort of like and it's probably like he like means it to be quiet, but like in the way of like this like kind of like techno like music, it just like will like randomly like be like quiet all of a sudden, and so he like kind of like offers it to you. He's like probably had enough of that anyway.
So he's just like handing over this bottle of straight bourbon. Yeah, she will totally take a swig off of that.
And then I think that's where he kind of does one of these and disappears off into the crowd.
All right, well, you got one question yourself.
I think who's been asked the least questions? I feel like Gigi's asked. I feel like I'm the only one who's asked her one, so I'll ask again.
You can ask anybody you want. It doesn't have to be me.
I know, but I think it's more interesting when we get a little bit more from each character. This moment in the dance allows me to step close to you and linger very near. Am I welcome?
Yeah, like I think this is like a while after like the little laughter exchange, like the dance, like we wind up really close to each other again, and I think there's it's an entirely quiet moment. There's like not really any words exchanged, but there's kind of like that subtle smile of like, hey, I remember you from a minute ago or 15 minutes ago or whatever. And like it's one of those moments where there's like some close dancing of like actually physically touching, even though we don't really know each other, but it's totally a moment, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Feeling it. All right, sweet. Now we're just over.
Okay. So is
that was the concert.
So are each of the mini games like different in length, or is it always like twice?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
They each vary in length. It twice around or once. I mean, it all depends.
Okay.
Usually it's going to be twice around, but there are other times where it's just 3 and it's asymmetrical, or they're all different and weird.
Cool. Who chooses next?
Either you or me.
Either
one,
yeah.
Is there a game you're interested in playing?
Yeah, I want to do a free for all.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Everyone plays, everyone meets. Who are you picking as your partner?
So I'm assuming in this context, and correct me if I'm wrong, the partner would be the one on my side.
No.
No.
The partner is you pick a person and they set the scene.
Okay. I will pick Prince Massacre.
Yeah, so I think we meet at like a crystalline Bantresh facility. It's in like a middle of a desert, so it's, sand dunes in every direction, and then like a huge Soviet era factory complex, like hundreds of square miles of like Titanfall-esque environments where there's just lots of concrete buildings that are almost exactly mech size, so you can hide behind them, and then lots of smaller buildings that you can use as cover while you're shooting over them. And there's probably like infantry combat going on around us, but none of us care because rifles mean nothing to us. So what do we notice about each other, and what have you heard?
So I'm going to describe my mech again because I think it really stands out of place, because normally like I wanted to introduce it like in a field. It looks like a harvester unit set out for the night or whatever. But obviously that's not the case. And then it had this like badass like where it turns into a cool mech. But it's like the thing to note about this mech is it's very asymmetrical. It's like it has 2 legs that walk and like 2 like arms, but one of each is longer than the other, and like the cockpit is like on the left hand side and not centered, and it doesn't have a head because it's a repurposed farm mech. So it's it skates around on wheels mostly, but it's also rigged with jets.
What about you? Have we seen your mech in combat yet, Sam?
We have not just yet, I believe. So I'm imagining mine is like very like what you would think of when you say mech, like kind of very humanoid, but just like bulky and like kind of bulbous, and it like looks like very um like inelegant almost. I think is the best word. Whereas like the it's very the where the jets are and the engines are like very obvious, as opposed to like some of you see like some of my like troops around me where they have like much more like sleek that like really like look more humanoid type mechs. And he in his left hand he's got the auto gun, and in his right hand he's just like whipping around the mace. And he's ready to have a rip roaring time. He sort of flies in and out, and is doing kind of like acrobatics as we like close and as this battle begins.
So there's probably a bunch of different noble factions fighting, but occasionally they're taking pot shots at each other when no one's looking. But Prince is Thermopylae, Carthage, Istanbul, NASCAR the Fourth is like the bleeding front edge, like the very center of the complex, because this is like his family wants this complex, and probably we tipped off the battle. We're trying to take it back from the landowners, and
Yeah, and I think that probably that I'm here as like an opportunistic, like steal some shit and get
yeah,
out.
I mean this is a great place for the revolutionaries. There are gonna be a
And,
ton of dead mechs.
and this is definitely like I've been describing it as like a harvester field unit, and so there's definitely like compartments that she can go around and just fucking scavenge.
So to set myself up as the villain once more, the intro scene as everyone's mechs come in, you know, like I assume because both of you have jets, you're like jetting across the sands toward the battle. Is there's a collapsed building, and I've climbed up the side of it to what was once the like top floor. The ceiling on that is down, and I'm standing on top of the rubble. And in my gun hand, I've dropped the rifle, and I'm like holding a smaller mobile frame up and shoving my chainsaw through its cockpit and throwing it off the side of the building. And that's like me at the top, victorious. And I've got like a huge noble flag on the back, like so everyone knows I'm the command unit.
Right.
And it looks fucking glorious from my perspective, and probably looks super horrifying because I totally just murdered a dude and then casually threw away his very expensive mobile frame. So who wants to start asking questions first?
Go around the table. Each of you gets 2 turns. You, being the person that initiated this game, Sam, will go first. On your turn, choose an enemy player's character and give them a challenge. They answer it freely. After everyone has gone twice, then we will jointly choose one of the endings. And there's endings on both page 20 and 21. So.
Cool. I'm going to rush you, Prince NASCAR. I'm faster than you'd believe. Can you react in time and get away? How?
I don't think so. I'm on top of a very shaky building that I can only get up on my chicken walker legs, and I don't have jets. So when you like rush up on me, I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, this is my hill.
You know what happens? My mech probably has this like 2 like giant like wing-esque engine things going on.
Yeah, you know, this is Gundam, so
yeah, exactly. And they just sort of like ignite the like afterburner thing, and I just plow into the like base of the tower that you're on and just like crash it down.
As it's coming down, my mech like leaps for another building while grabbing my rifle, like overhand grab, and my giant boxy like missile shoulders are firing an unending stream of like I can't see you. But now that the building's going down anyway, I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna collapse the whole thing on top of them now. We're done. I'm probably like over for some reason, all mobile frames have like an open comms channel where you can talk to anybody. And so I'm just like,
Of course.
well, pilot, that was pretty close there. You almost got me. Actually, looks like I got some right arm damage there. Old Ripper might not be as good. You're speaking to Prince NASCAR here. Can I ask who you are?
Oh, no shit. It's you.
Oh, it's you. Landowner guy. That's right, Wedge. How's that building working out for you, Wedge?
Well,
do you come floating out of the building now on jets of giant flame? And I'm like, well, shit.
I think Wedge is just like, oh man, I thought you were gonna pay me. It's a shame I'm gonna have to kill you.
I mean, I can still pay you right now if you want.
Well, this would be much too obvious.
I mean, never better time than now.
He said, I think I just am like...
I'm probably in my cockpit, like, on the keyboard, where, like, my right arm is like, warning, 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 actuator damaged, overheat in process, and I'm like, oh, yeah, just keep talking,
I think he's just like, sorry, and the jets ignite again as I go for a second pass, but it's someone else's turn, I believe.
All right, we lock into close combat then.
All right, do you wanna go next, AP?
No, I'm curious about how you enter the combat.
So actually, I have an idea for that. Which one of you? I think I'm targeting Sam with this as well, because Wedge is basically the defense of this site, and so I keep to cover, circling with tactical precision. I'm almost impossible to spot. Do you see me coming? How?
No chance.
Yeah. So the way that I enter is, you see, like, the camera sees me circle around behind him and actually, like, pick up that mech that you tossed earlier and, like, snip parts of it and put it into my own frame.
You got a messenger bag?
Circle around beyond that. I don't actually engage with you, but I have stolen mech pieces, like, out from literally under your nose.
Is that a working J22 actuator core? That looks pretty fresh.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
You steal a protocol droid that speaks bocce?
Wait, so are you in your mech? Like, you can't be, right?
Yeah, no, I am. This is
She's using her mech to loot other mechs.
It's
my
harvester.
My mech has a harvester, and it has storage compartments for doing exactly this.
It's a harvester, but just not for plants and food.
Yes,
That's so good.
I'm harvesting mech parts from this battle while it's mid-battle.
So, as our short-range battle continues, I break away from you at one point, Wedge, and like we're doing this thing where we're both going around the same building. You know, both our mech frames are going around it, and out of nowhere, I just come through the building, and at point-blank range, I rain a barrage of missiles down on you from out of nowhere. Since, as we know, I have 2 giant missile launchers. Can you escape them? How?
I think this is why Wedge has this frame. So, like, I think he just sort of charges, and, like, he, like, is doing, like, some maneuvering, but it's, like, in the, like, Han Solo, I know some maneuvers type, where he's, like, just kind of drifting, and, like, his mech is bulky and has more armor than, like, your standard one. So he just, like, is like, all right, like, I just need to take a direct route and get hit by a few of these missiles, but I can take some of them. And so, like, they're probably, like, just, like, exploding on him, but he's, like, spinning through them at the same time and trying to close the distance once again.
I think as you're getting close to me, I'm gonna do what all swivel turret mechs do, and literally Toro bull push you past me, like, step aside and be like, swing, and, like, hurl you into the side of the building that I've come. So probably because I've come out of a building, there's, like, a cloud of dust around me, and then I just face grind your mech onto it, and I'm just like, well, Wedge, Sir Wedge, it seems that you survived my ultimate missile shot combo. Not many mobile frames can survive that. Got to be pretty well armored. As I'm like grinding your face into the side of the building.
Well, you know what they say. They don't make them like they used to. And I heave you bodily off the ground, lift you up to smash you down again. Are you able to get out of my grip? How? So I basically, you're like grinding me against the wall, and I just like I think what happens is like he like flips the jets up and uses them to like propel him back down onto the ground, and then like lifts you up and tries to smash you back down into the building.
Yeah, I don't think I'm able to get out of this. We've already established when you rushed me earlier, you damaged my chainsaw arm. And so all I'm doing is like kicking and punching you, but because I have a reverse leg mech, it doesn't do very much.
Yeah.
And yes. I'm like flashing my short range lasers onto your cockpit so that you're like blinded, but I can't escape your grip.
Yeah, so I just pile drive you. And then I probably pick up the mace, and I'm gonna try to go after you, but it's I want to know what Kelsa does now, or rather.
All right, so I've got an idea of what to do actually. So what I want to do is I know that this is definitely Prince NASCAR because he's got the symbols are all over his mech.
I've been open broadcasting too.
Yeah, it's totally obvious. So I'm going to choose the last option. I do blank. And what I'm going to do is I am going to basically rescue Prince NASCAR because his mech is totaled. So I'm going to come up with my harvester arm and just pick up his cockpit and just the cockpit and then shove it into my mech. Can you hold me off? How?
I mean, no, I'm currently being pile driven.
No, not you.
Oh.
I mean, this is the Sam.
So I'm stopping you from saving him.
Can you do?
No, I don't think I even like. I think basically he's blinded, right? So
yeah.
He like mashes it down, and he just he knows where the mace is. Like, or you know what? It's better is like it's magnetic. So he just magnetizes it back into the mech's hand and just smashes down on the empty cockpit. Or I mean,
nice.
not the empty mech.
Yeah. Cockpit has been salvaged and.
So the cockpit for my mech still has the flag attached to it. And as you're carrying me away, rather than like ask you who you are and why you're saving me, instead I'm lighting up my good friend Sir Wedge with my sensors and comms units, zeroing in all of my allies. So
Wait
all of my
minute. Didn't you already do your second
No, I only
thing?
did one thing.
Oh,
No,
well, never mind.
I only did barrage of
you're
rockets.
Right, never mind.
Yep.
Yeah, do it. No,
I'm the last participant. Yeah, I light him up with my sensors and comm units, and I just call all of my cousins and younger brothers and sisters and people that work for me, and I'm just like, destroy this fool.
Oh man.
Are you able to evade like dozens of mobile frames?
I don't think so. I think like probably like the way we see the battle end is just like all of these frames just converging on Wedge, and then we'll find out, I guess.
All right, I guess it's an ending time.
Oh wait.
I suggest we take the fight's explosive. We do an enormous amount of damage to the landscape and to the factory. When the fight ends, we're all still standing, and everyone else is lucky to have survived it all.
No, yeah, I'm fine with that.
That sounds perfect.
I mean, especially with what you just did at the end there, makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, I think like maybe we for like the ending for like what you see like everything converging on Wedge, and then like just like fast forward in time, and you see him just like trudging through the desert in like he's got like the parachute. It's like Will Smith in Independence
Day. Yeah, I gotcha.
Just, like, crashed into the middle of nowhere. He's just like,
oh, this is so bad. I actually had a soundboard of like sword noises and club attacks that I was having ready for the mech fight, and I completely forgot because I was so focused on it. I was like, oh man, I'm not going to be the mech that survives this time. I'm going to be like, I have a shitty mech, actually.
No, it's great. And so I definitely think that what happens at the end here is like there's like a out of the way like bus stop or
No,
something
before
like
this
along.
happens, I wanna choose my game, and I choose liaison, and you are my
Oh.
chosen partner. How did the two of us come to be stealing time together? Uh,
Oh, well, that
GG.
may change things. I see. Okay.
I mean, it could still
Um,
be at a bus stop.
well, I mean, I was gonna just like leave you off and have it be a mystery, but since this is what you would like to play, let's play it then. Um, so yeah, I think we get away from like the fight and your and to somewhere like an old farmhouse or something, and like into the like barn of what appears to be an abandoned farm, or like on the edge of town or something. And so the harvester mech sets your cockpit down, and the uh, cockpit of my mech opens up, and you recognize the pilot.
I thought you said you weren't a pilot. I like pop my canopy open.
I may not have been entirely truthful.
So what's happening here? Am I your hostage now? Are you one of these revolutionaries that's been plaguing the planet with their politics? I can appreciate your can-do attitude. It looks like you scrapped this mech together yourself. Is that true?
It is.
It's kind of
I thought
engineering that I expect out of Bantreshi citizens.
this was probably a mistake. Whether it was saving you or bringing you here, I don't know what I was thinking.
Uh, I go to loosen my own, like, noble armor, because I'm still wearing, like, a pilot's jumpsuit with, like, like, bulletproof, just in case something, like, got in the cockpit. I go to loosen that. May I?
Yeah, she's not going to stop you.
All right, yeah, and I'm just like loosening it. There's probably like a cooling vest underneath it that's got like water cooler heat exchanging. So if it gets too hot in the cockpit, it'll cool you down. And I grab the Bantresh version of like High C and start like um. I probably should be calling somebody to arrest you or kill you, but all I can think about is what you'd like as a reward for saving my life there.
Well, I think not turning
Beyond the
would be
parts
right.
from my family's mechs that you seem to have taken. Is that J-22 actuator? I'm surprised that survived. Didn't I throw this thing off the top of a building?
Yeah, like so she like slides down from her mech pilot seat and like opens up, like fully opens up the harvester compartment, and is like, yeah, I was really impressed that it survived. And she starts like pulling it out, and it's like almost as tall as she is, but it's like super space metal, so it's not actually that heavy. And it's got like a glowing the actuator itself is like this green glowing orb that like hovers in the rest of the metal parts. And she gives it a spin.
I touch the back of your shoulder. Like, I walk next to you and, like, put my hand on your shoulder. May I?
Yeah, she turns and she's like, you seem like you know a thing about or two about mobile frames.
I used to maintain my mobile frame, before it got blown up by some cuss from Offworld about 15 minutes ago.
She kind of laughs a little bit, and she puts the actuator down, and she turns around. And this time, she's going to loosen her own jumpsuit a little bit. May I?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So she unzips down to the I'm a female wearing a jumpsuit level. That
I've seen Gundam animes. I know how this works.
You know how it works.
Yeah.
And she also like lets down her hair that had been like pulled up before and is ridiculously long for no reason, as you do, and kind of does the hair flip thing for a second, and she's like, you seem like you might be sympathetic to our cause. I touch your fingertips, may
I? You may, but first, I want to open your mobile frame's canopy. May I? So, how I'm positioning this is like we're looking at like the inside of your mech, and you're reaching for my hand, and I'm like reaching for like the cockpit opening button. I want to take a look inside.
You may. It's not much to look at. Sure, you've seen better, Prince.
Well, seems you've got things pretty well in here. As you're like touching my hand, I'm just like looking around inside. Seems you've done pretty good work cobbling this together. That looks like a Chubb 22 seat. You've welded the frame with a Zerostrum? You are pretty handy.
Thank you. It's actually the it looks like Zerostrum, but actually it's Farfin. It's much stronger.
Ah, interesting. Well, my revolutionary, it looks like I have an enemy in the landowners, and while I don't completely agree with the politics of all revolutionaries, I think you and I might be able to come to an accord. And when we come to an accord, perhaps some funding might find its way into the rebellion, funding that can be used against the landowners.
I'll keep that in mind.
I touch your cheek. May I?
You may, but only for a moment. And I withdraw to a less charged distance.
All right. Do you like... It's a Gundam anime, so I imagine you turn around and like your swooshing hair follows you as you do that.
Of course.
And you have like a little prayer hand thing. Relena Peacecraft, I know you well. And I'm just like, perhaps over dinner tonight, you should come to my family's estate. We're having fried chicken. Only the finest. It's been cooked 12 hours.
It's gourmet fried chicken.
Of course it's gourmet fried chicken.
It's the only way.
If you
have to import chickens from off planet.
Yeah, they don't grow naturally here. It's literally...
I'm very partial to chicken fried Kobe beef.
Wow, that sounds super rare. If you've seen Kingsman, the scene where Samuel L. Jackson serves McDonald's on silver trays,
oh my God,
that's how we eat fried chicken in the House of NASCAR.
I'm feeling it. I'm super feeling it.
So yeah, I invite you to join me at my family's estate tonight to discuss our accord and what the rebellion can do for me and for the planet of Bantresh.
Yeah, I think she agrees, and that's a pretty good place to end the scene.
Yeah, yeah.
Bum, bum, bum.
We draw the curtain. Cool. So each of us has had one scene so far.
Mm-hmm.
And so, does anyone want to go again?
So is basically we just like play out scenes until like we
until the end? Yeah.
Done? Have an actual end.
So to end play, everyone goes around once. After we've gone around once, you can decide to end. Any person can decide to end play after any other player's turn. To end play, go around the table one last time. On your turn, bring up any unresolved questions you have about the character's fates. Say what you think possible outcomes to them are. Other players contribute and vote on possible outcomes.
Okay.
So we keep playing until we're like, okay, I think we're about done.
Yeah, I think we should keep playing, but maybe take a break.
It's a little early, but yeah, we can take a break here after round 1. That's fine.
It's a little early, but it seems like a good breaking point.
It does seem like a good breaking point. I expect to see Sam's character with like a half mask and an entirely new mobile frame. He's got to get he's using the Chub 4s, not the Chub 2s or whatever.
Yeah. It like he has to use the exactly. That's perfect. He can't use his old school. He can't even find one. It's impossible to find.
The best Gundam example.
I know someone that could have found one for you.
Yeah. The best Gundam example of this trope is in Mobile Suit Gundam 00, where there's a character in Season 1 called Graham Aker, who has a special squadron called the Flag Fighters that are like experimental fighters that turn into Gundam type objects. They're not as strong as regular Gundams, but they fly in a pack, so they're really strong. The whole team dies except for him, and then in Season 2, he gets a mask. It wears the exact same outfit, looks exactly the same, but has a mask, and everyone's like, who is this man? And he's like, my name's Mr. Bushido. This is a white guy from America who calls himself Mr. Bushido and shows up at all of like the Japanese Space League events and is like, I'm Mr. Bushido. And they're like, no one can go out there. And he's like, actually, I have a license from the president. I'm Mr. Bushido. And he just flies his mech out there and challenges everyone to sword fights. He's a fighter pilot, and in the second season, he just culturally appropriates Japan for no reason. It's so bad. He's the worst. It's really bad.
Just pick the most random brand.
It's really bad. All right, listen, we'll be back in about 7 minutes for the second half of Mobile Friend Zero Firebrands, the demise of the House of NASCAR.